Ladies and gentlemen, Pope Francis is set to participate in a pagan ritual. I just saw this story at LifeSite, and quite frankly, it doesn't look too good. We're going to read that quickly here. Now, as you can see, it's on my screen here. Pope Francis is going to be visiting Canada next week. And that's great. I mean, you want the Pope to visit your country, although I'm not going to lie, this is going to be probably pretty painful for faithful Catholics in Canada, because essentially what he's doing is he's visiting the country, doing a tour, apologizing to the Aboriginal leaders and things like that for what were the mass graves, which turned out to be nothing of the sort. In fact, that's actually been admitted by the mainstream media. It's not just, the far right types like myself and others who have proven that it's false. There were no mass graves discovered. There were bad things done to kids by Catholic priests everywhere in the world, and that's awful. But there was no systematic murdering or killing or whatever of Indigenous children by Catholic priests. It just never happened. So anyway, now I'm saying systematic. There were bad people who did bad things, and okay, yeah, we always apologize for those things, but that's actually been done. Pope Benedict already apologized for it. Anyway, this is all based on a nonsense from last year. It was used to cause church burnings and so forth, all based on a lie. But anyway, part of his thing is he's going to be doing the whole enculturation thing, and Pope Francis is going to be participating in, it says here, pagan ceremonies with Indigenous peoples. This is not just hearsay. This is true. This has been stated by the priests who are set to do these ceremonies with the Pope. And I'll explain what they are. And so according to Crux, Father Cristino Bouvet of the Archdiocese of Calgary plans for Pope Francis to participate in a pagan smudging ceremony. I'll explain what that is in a sec. And pray facing all four directions according to Indigenous traditions. Nothing wrong with praying in all four directions. That's a custom. There's really nothing wrong with that. But it's the smudging thing, which is a huge problem. It says, during the Pope's visit to Sacred Heart Church of the First Peoples, an elder will process into the church holding a bowl of smoldering cedar sage sweetgrass and tobacco to reportedly purify the church. The smudge that is being proposed at Sacred Heart holds a twofold purpose. This is according to the priest, by the way. To show recognition of the ritual in an observable public way. So there is a desire that it be publicly known that this is taking place with the Pope, so this is intentional, as a ritual of purification in the space itself, as a gesture of making space more hospitable to welcome the Holy Father as he arrives. The priest acknowledged that smudging is not a Catholic tradition, but maintained that it is certainly not contrary to it. He said, for Indigenous Catholics to see the Holy Father welcomed to some place like Sacred Heart Church by having smudged the place first, or facing the four directions to offer his blessing, there's nothing wrong with facing four directions, clearly demonstrates a sensitivity on his part to their traditions, which, though outside of any particular Catholic expression of faith, are certainly not contrary to it. This is completely wrong. Completely wrong. He says certain pagan practices would be sacrilegious because they either make a mockery of our faith or dangerously open one up to the spiritual order where one has no control over what enters or attaches. It's kind of a weird way of saying it. There are a variety of Indigenous rituals such as this, which I have intentionally left off the table from the beginning. Okay, so I'm glad he's leaving off the more overtly pagan things. But this is still sinful, okay? He wrote, personal purification or the purification of the space where the smudge is happening are the exclusive purposes of the ritual. He said without explaining what people were being purified from or how burning herbs could spiritually purify a person. He says, usually the person doing the smudging would use a feather or a branch to direct the smoke up toward participants who use their hands to welcome it as a sign of their desire to cleanse their minds and hearts. However, Bouvet said at Sacred Heart, the elder will smudge the church itself, but will not direct the smoke toward the people. Okay, this is an admission that this is pagan spirituality. This is an admission. Why wouldn't you just direct the smoke over towards the people? If it's not harmful, if it's just some little smoky smoke, why don't you direct it towards the people? There is no such thing as purifying a space in a spiritual sense with burning sweetgrass. Now, I'm going to make a couple distinctions here. Yes, it is possible to set the mood with smells and bells and things. We do that all the time as Catholics. Let's just be benefit of the doubt here. If they said, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. If they said, we're going to sort of have like a prayer meeting with the Pope as Catholics, where to remind us of our sacred history or something, I don't know. I'm just trying to be nice here. To remind us of our history, we use incense that is made from sweetgrass or something. There's nothing wrong with that. It's arbitrary what incense you use, in a sense. I mean, obviously there's reasons with the certain incense used in the liturgy. I'm just saying, you could use any type of incense you want in your home for reasons of like the smell or setting the mood. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, people light scented candles and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you believe that if you light a scented candle, that it purifies your space, that is sinful. That is superstition. That is paganism. That is New Age. That is idolatry. That is ultimately part of demon worship. There is nothing about smudging, lighting sweetgrass on fire and wafting the smoke around the place. There's nothing about that does anything to purify. It might psychologically make people believe that they're in a place where they're set to pray. And as I said, if it was your home ritual, like, we light candles before we pray the rosary. If you were Indigenous and you had these traditions and you thought we're just going to light some incense and then we're going to pray the rosary, that's great. Like I personally, I don't have a problem with that. That is enculturation in the sense we've always seen in the church. There's nothing wrong with people having cultural traditions, but this is the Mass. And as it said, there will be someone coming through with this thing. And I'm going to go to this article here. I don't know if they wrote it in the LifeSite one. I got to find here, do a little Control F search. I know it's in the Crux one. Okay. Yeah, here it is. So the priest said, and this is how you know that this is complete nonsense. And the original article is at Crux, okay? And he said, and I'll quote, he said, oops, make that bigger. In a Catholic context, we could see the ritual of smudging as being akin to the use of certain of our sacramentals, I don't know, grammar error there, of our sacramentals which are born for personal spiritual purposes such as wearing the scapular or anointing with the oil of St. Joseph's oratory. Nonsense. Not true at all. The way that so this is a priest saying that using this sweetgrass, sage, whatever, which again, there's nothing wrong with incense and smells. Okay? And to be honest, we have lots of things in the Catholic Church that were part of like a pagan civilization, like candles were used in worship. So you can still use things, but you can't believe the wrong things about them and still remain an Orthodox Catholic. So again, if they used sage, sweetgrass, whatever, for reasons of ambiance in like their personal lives, even while praying at home or something, as long as this is a sacred memory for us as a people, okay, that's kind of like how we've repurposed statues and the great architecture of Rome, and we recognize that it was naturally beautiful, and so it was used for sacred purposes. I get where they're going with that. Again, I'm pretty easy going on that. But this is not what's happening. What's happening here is he said he's comparing it to sacramentals. No. First of all, smudging is not approved as a sacramental. Secondly, he uses the scapular as an example. The scapular itself does not have any physical properties, and it's not believed that thing has like a physical thing to it. That's superstition. Okay, I've got mine on right here. It's under my shirt right here. Okay, I don't believe that this thing protects me from not having sacraments. What I believe is that by making my promises to wear the scapular and honor the promises and the commitments, that because of that sign of faith, I will not die without the sacraments. That's the point of it. There are rules to it to make sure it's not just willy-nilly and to make sure it's not a superstition. And the oil of St. Joseph's oratory. No, the oil from St. Joseph's oratory is because there is a particular set of candles and oils that are blessed in a particular place with relics and so on and so forth, and on that sacred place, then you have something that is almost a relic type sacramental that is used to remind you of St. Joseph's intercession. That's how that works. It doesn't have any super special magic powers to it. We don't believe that as Catholics. That is a sin of superstition. This smudging thing is nothing like that. The belief about the smudging thing is that when you light this grass, that when you waft that in the air, that it does something spiritual. Wrong. It is possible with things like holy water, where that thing is a sacred tradition, where there are particular exorcism prayers and so on and so forth that are said with that thing, and then that has a particular power to it. But that is an ancient tradition which has been verified in the church, and there's a big history to that. This is not that. This is not that. I don't know if theoretically, I'm trying to be as nice as possible here. Maybe theoretically it would be possible for there to be some sort of Catholic sacramental prayer that could be said over some sort of incense. I honestly don't know. I know we have incense at Mass, and there's an aspect. I'm trying to be as charitable as possible here, but the smudging thing is superstitious. Okay, you go to these interfaith meetings where they have the Catholic and the whatever at the powwow. I've had to, sit through presentations of these things when I was a teacher. It is syncretism between religions. It is not Catholic. It is a belief that you do these things, bad spirits go away. You go around here in Ontario, Canada, and there's all these, New Age stores. In those places, there's a reason they sell the smudging things there and not rosaries. They don't sell scapulars in the New Age stores. Okay? They don't sell St. Joseph's oil in the New Age yoga store, but they sell smudging stuff. When you go to the, faith healer workshop things where they, find your chakras and stuff, they get out the smudging and they do the wafting of the smudging. They're not getting out the holy water. Okay? This is a pagan ceremony. It is wrong. It is wrong for this to take place in a Catholic church, especially under these auspices. Again, I'm giving as much benefit as possible. I'm thinking about like a funeral or something, and a native elder dies, and they're faithful Catholics, and they march the coffin towards the church, burning the incense for reasons of nostalgia. Maybe that's okay. I mean, I'm seriously trying to find a way where I'm not just being one of those quote unquote rad trads who's saying that nothing non-European is fine. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he says personal, this is what it says here. Personal purification or the purification of the space where the smudge is happening are the exclusive purposes of the ritual. He's literally saying it. Personal purification or the purification of the space where the smudge is happening are the exclusive purposes. The purpose of the ritual is to perform some sort of spiritual purification. That's called a pagan ritual. Anyway, I'm beating a dead horse here. And yes, my colleague here at LifeSite writes that in addition to being an Indigenous tradition, the smudging ceremony is practiced in witchcraft and Wicca. Yeah, and there's a citation there. I haven't checked the citation, but yeah. How to perform a Wiccan smudging ceremony. There you go. So anyway, there's a reason why you go to Wiccan witchcraft sites like this one, and they have how to do smudging. And then there's a reason why when you go to those witchcraft sites that have these pentagrams and things, and they don't have, here's how to pray the rosary. Here's how to receive the Holy Eucharist in a state of grace. Because one of these things is not compatible with the other. Please pray for Pope Francis. Also pray for Canada, because this visit that Pope Francis is about to do in Canada is going to be a dumpster fire. The idea is that he's going to go apologize to all of the wounded Native peoples. And again, there were evil things done by priests to particular individuals who attended the Native residential schools. I believe every Catholic priest who does abuse should be sent to Siberia. Strongest, we're talking, here's a bus ticket. You're going to the Northwest Territories. Good luck. That's the kind of treatment they should get. Okay. I'm not saying that, we excuse any of the bad things away. But what I am saying is this is all because of this is happening because of all of this, the lies last year about the church mass graves, which didn't exist, which I've written about that extensively at LifeSite. Literally, they were tree roots and abrasions in the soil, and the cemeteries, that the land that had the cemeteries, were actually community cemeteries where a bunch of non-Indigenous people and non-children, like adults, were buried over like 150 years. Like, it's total hoax. Like, it's literally a hoax. And the Pope is coming to apologize because of all that sort of thing, initiating this hysteria that led to church burnings last year. And it is not going to help Catholics. It's going to make everything worse for us because the left is cannibalistic and insatiable. So once you start to bend the knee, they're going to say, look, I told you, you are evil. Your Pope admitted you're evil. Now, shine my shoes for me. That's what they're going to do. They're not going to say, oh, we're just so happy you apologize. Now we'll totally be reasonable, tell the truth all the time, and move on. It's never going to happen. The Pope doing this is going to be one of the worst things that's ever happened to Canadian Catholicism under these auspices. I really hope, anyway, pray for a miracle. My kids are running around in the background here. So, Pope Francis is coming to Canada to partake in a pagan ritual. Sad. But pray for the Pope. And I guess that's all for today. This has been the Kennedy Report. Until next time, God bless.